da solo Tevez dell'area, fa fuori tutti Tevez, si apre la porta Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Hey Aventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, where of course it's all Juve all the time. Coming off the match against Lazio, 2-2 final. Almost like somebody called it, almost like somebody told Ant to put money on it. Got the Chicoria
money
there.
in the bank, baby. Thank you, Albert. Money in the bank.
2-2. Some goodbyes. Tears were shed. Wow.
Not by this guy.
Yeah, it was pretty emotional. We'll talk about the goodbyes. And then immediately after, just the news that broke out immediately. And it's got always, like I said, there's never a shortage of things to talk about with this team. And it's like that every single day. So we've got a lot of news to cover. De Ligt, Pogba, Keane, Di Maria, Artur. All that breaks out in the aftermath of the Lazio match. And yeah, we're going to cover all of it. We're going to start with the match itself very, very briefly. We'll get into that, and then we'll tackle all the good stuff because I'm sure that's what everybody is wanting to hear about. So we'll get to some good. Obviously, good morning. Bob's always in here. Jeremiah coming in here early, and Jeremiah saying he's never seen any Juve player that's left the club cry the way Dybala did. Heartbreaking stuff. We'll get to the goodbyes.
We'll get to it.
Yeah. You guys ready? We got
Omar, hang on.
We got Anth. We're doing double duty this week. Okay, doing them both.
Look at that.
Show the shirt, bud. Yes, today sporting the King Kong tee, obviously out already for Striped Hearts. Check them out, stripedheartsapparel.com. Thanks to everybody who did already on day one release. And yeah, like I said, up for a limited time. Make sure you check them out. Show some love. Now, without further ado, we are getting close. We're at 1,955 subscribers, okay? 45 away from 2K, which was our goal to finish this season. We got one more match to do it. And don't forget, all subscribers are going to be automatically entered in winning the away Vlahovic kit. Okay, so get yourself entered. Got some friends, share the content with your friends, and let's keep growing the AJC army. Now, let's get to the match itself. Okay,
there was a game yesterday
and whatnot.
Forgot.
Sorry,
there was a game yesterday. I completely forgot.
I know it got lost very quickly in all the emotions and all the discussions and whatnot. It's the same as any game though. You get the overreactionary, and then you get the people that are just status quo, and then some that just
and then you get Omer.
Is what it is. But we'll tackle it all. As far as the game goes, we talked about it in the Match Day Live. Based on that lineup, it's not a whole lot to really look into in terms of answers or growth or anything like foundation-wise, other than Miretti that was in there playing the two-man pivot. That was really what eyes should have been on, aside from having a nice send-off for Chiellini and, of course, Dybala. But some of the other guys that were brought into question was Morata, potentially Morata's last home game with Juventus, but we don't actually know that. So I think that's why I was treated differently, as this guy's kind of still up in the air. And then Bernardeschi, the talks just aren't picking up and never have. So probably another goodbye there as well. But obviously, King Kong, the main man, and then Dybala as well. So as far as the match goes, we'll go through it very, very quickly. Like I said, you kick it off, and man, Lazio doesn't take too long to ring one off the crossbar there. Again, a little bit of a change-up. Looked very familiar to when Quadrado's side had that one player, and there's always a little bit of confusion there. But yeah, he follows his man in. Miretti steps in, but then that allows a little bit of space up at the top, and that he just kind of took a stab at that shot. It's not like he stepped into it or anything, and still got off a good one off the woodwork. Then we don't have to wait long, and we're on the board. And this cross was absolute money. Okay, and that was Morata, and Vlahovic thought he was going to drive himself into the post on that one. Beauty. Ant?
Morata. He does know how to play football. And I believe someone called yesterday, put money on Juventus scoring early. Oh, winner, chicken dinner.
Okay. So we always like to have a little
It had that
backhanded
feel,
there, right? Okay.
Lazio was tight. I said they were going to come out tight, and they came out tight. They came out nervous.
Yeah. So we get off to a good start. Vlahovic, just that cross, though, was absolute beauty. And there you go.
Yeah.
16th minute comes. 17th. It was 16th. 17th minute is what they consider it. For 17 years of service, Chiellini says his goodbyes. Okay, at the 17th minute, passes on the armband to Dybala. And starts his rounds, saying goodbye and everything, gets his big ovation. And there's more to come on that, obviously, at the end. But there you go. Enter De Ligt. Now,
hang on. The whole player going around the stadium thing. Do other clubs do that? Do other players do that? Or is that just something that Del Piero started? And
no, I've seen that
seen
with
that in other
a lot of sides.
I like
walking
that.
around, and
I think that's nice.
If the stadium, is there's some where the stands are quite a bit more, and if they're further out, you don't always see it. But yeah, usually they'll do that.
Okay.
Now, Morata hits a beauty for our second goal, and Dybala on this one was absolute money. It looks like he's still got some pace in those legs out of nowhere, making his move, running up forward there, coming up the side. And he was doing excellent work there. Raph.
This guy.
Is Sergi Popolo.
Raph is on the 1G.
Straight
Take it easy. Just wrapping up the game highlights here. Let's get into this one. So obviously Morata again. So he's on a goal and a helper, and great stuff. Halftime hits. Still a lot surrendered to Lazio, but no real threats coming from Lazio. But, there's other things that we had our minds on. Dybala, Chiellini, and all this, and the lead. If this was normal circumstances, I think it's a lot of what we've seen out of Juventus, just not getting possession enough and looked a little bit overrun in the middle. Locatelli looked a little off, but it is what it is. You got a 2-0 lead. You just want to send these guys off with a win. Lazio pulls one back quick in the second half. Sandro, at the best of times, can't think fast enough. If anybody thought he was going to think quick enough on that header, he just put a leg out and made sure it went in our net. But if you think he was going to think fast enough to just drive the ball back where it's coming from, it ain't going to happen. That guy is not going to be quick thinking enough.
I'm not sure what the hell he was doing there. Was it just like to try and kick it out?
I have no idea.
I'm not quite sure.
I'm done spending any time or energy ever thinking about what Sandro's doing anymore. And hopefully I don't have to anymore.
Look, to be fair, it's a tough ball to save.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It had power. It was like sort of in and out, and he had to make quick decision against, the way he was running. It is a tough save to make. Like if it was Quadrado there, it would get half the standard, but nevertheless.
I just feel like the majority would think if you're running this way, the ball's coming this way, you would think to just put it that way, especially when you know your goal's here. So I can't
touch it.
I just can't think of anybody that would think, okay, with my goal here, I'm going to try to flick this thing like that way or whatever. Like you would just think that automatic instant reaction is to clear and go back that way.
Last time he did that,
he
did that against Inter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Against Inter, he had a beauty chest down assist to Sanchez there. That was fantastic. Yeah. Again, at the best of times, this guy is, I saw people thinking, why would he shoot in there? It was a tough one to deal with, but if you think he would be fast thinking enough to get it, I don't think so. Now, we go on. Moise Keane actually with a solid opportunity on this spin around, chest down situation, just missing post. Then you have Dybala. Dybala gets subbed off. He gets his ovation, quickly goes and hugs Chiellini on the side, and then he begins his rounds. Then at the very, very end, on a rebound, Milinkovic-Savic buries, and hell of a finish on a rebound. You can talk about Pellegrini maybe doing a bit more to make sure that ankle's cut off or whatnot, but it is what it is. He put that in the one spot he had, and it
He
was
had about a
crazy.
window about yay big to hit that in. Over
Yeah.
Pellegrini, under the bar. It was a hell of a finish, man.
So 2-2 in terms of the match. Nobody really ultimately, cared too much, but it's a lot of the same things we've seen. Max got frustrated, lost his mind, probably because they tied in the end. He actually took off. I don't know. I hope he would have came back out for the goodbyes, but he got pissed off and took off. Is what it is. 37% possession, 5 total attempts, something like that. Nothing we're not used to this season. It is what it is. It was more just for the guys and seeing these guys off. So is what it is. In terms of the goodbyes then. Beautiful, beautiful stuff for Chiellini. Absolutely beautiful. I raised the question to everybody on the live, which, by the way, now we're up. Everybody's back in joining. Get that like button hit, okay, and make sure you subscribe. Now, let's get into this. Did they let's talk about Chiellini's goodbye first and the ceremony and everything. I thought it was great. They brought the women's team out as well. But did they fall short on Dybala? Let's go around. Let's start with Anth.
For the old guy, we're going to start with the old guy. I think for Chiellini, what he's done for the club, what he's been paid by the club, right? A guy who's never complained, who's always said the right word, who's always put the right foot in, who's always, always done right. I think that was more than enough. You have the tribute on the screen, you have the players around after the game. He got to do his circle around the stadium. For Chiellini, that was good enough for me. That's pretty standard what clubs do, and I didn't nothing more, nothing less. He was never really a flashy guy, right? He was never a guy who was out there who needs all the pomp and circumstance. So for Chiellini, I thought it was a great tribute to him.
There you go. There you go. Omer, the tribute.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Bringing in the women's team, that's what he deserved. And we were making shout outs here to, a video, something, and they gave it all. Like they went all out. Except for the lighting. What's with the lighting? I couldn't see anything. I was trying to take photos from the event with Bird's Eye, and everything was just black most of the time. I hope people at the stadium saw it better, but on TV it was pretty bad.
Yeah. Raph, the goodbye, Chiello.
Yeah, man. It was sad to see him go. Unfortunately, like the BT Sports stream, they didn't show like the end one, but the at the beginning, wasn't there one at the beginning of the game where they kind of gave it, like he came out with his kids and everything, and that was nice to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, like after that, the BT Sport, it was just like, yeah, we're not going to show the rest of it, which I was really pissed off about. So I had to like see through like clips on the timeline.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I see all the people getting emotional, whatever, at that moment. I actually got a little emotional when I talked about it at that Coppa Italia final because he put in a stellar performance. I wanted them to get that trophy for those guys and whatnot. And I was actually like watching him play that match and the performance he was putting in. And I actually got emotional at that one because it was like sinking in for me then at that point. By the time this came around, I was actually enjoying it. Like I was enjoying his goodbye. I was like, this is really, really great. We talked about this leading up to it, what we've done with players in the past. And, was it enough? Should it be a little bit more? And I thought we fell a little bit short. This Chiellini one felt perfect. It felt just right. That was nothing over the top, but, just something very, very nice to do. And I thought that was perfectly well done. And, we look back and I can't help but feel that, and we'll talk about this now as we get to Dybala, because for me, I think while they did fantastic for Chiellini, and Dybala is in no way, shape, or form to get that, because we're talking about 17 years, okay? We're just not going to see players around at clubs for 17 years anymore. Like it's going to be extremely rare. So 17 years, undisputable legend status with the team. it deserves to be where it's at. Paulo, the way I look at it, they did kind of miss the mark because it would have been nice. Now, whether they don't want to take away from, Chiellini's day or whatnot and all this, I still think, it should have been a little bit more than Bonucci pushing the guy out to get his moment in front of the curva, like a little bit more, because any way you slice it, any way you think about how things went down or why all this, the ifs and whatever, it's a guy that's top 10 in your all-time scoring list and top 3 in your foreigners list ever. And he just, I feel they kind of missed the mark on Dybala a bit. That's my personal opinion. Now let's go on Dybala around the horn. Raph, did they kind of miss the mark on Dybala?
Yeah, disrespectful as hell, man. It took the players and the fans to show the support that Dybala needed. I thought it was really disgusting from like Agnelli and Co to not even have something lined up for him, like a little message video, nothing. It was so disappointing to see. That's why I was happy hearing those boos around the stadium, man. I was so happy.
It was pretty disappointing, and we will get to those boos. Agnelli getting booed, and I think it was like he was supposed to say something, I think, and it was almost like that reaction shocked him, and there was a change in plans. Like, I don't know if anybody caught that. Very, very strange. Very, very strange. But I can't help but feel the same way when you see the crowd react to Paulo and you have nothing like the anticipation, like regardless of how things go down. I just feel they missed the mark. It's pretty sad. Omer, did they miss the mark with Paulo?
I don't know. Like, I feel it's, like Raph said, a bit disrespectful, but it's two different scenarios, and you can throw in even Bernardeschi and Morata. I don't know who, but it's just not the same type of situation. There's finishing a career after 17 years for a club, and there's just running out of contract in the middle of your career and moving to another club. It's not the same status of event. Like, you don't, I don't know, celebrate a promotion at work similar to ending a long career. But Dybala does deserve something, isn't he? Like, he has done enough. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Maybe a video after Chiellini, some video of Dybala's greatest moments, and that's it. No need, to stand in the middle with everyone around him. But I don't know. It's a very tough situation to handle. Like, where do you stop? Because then you feel uncomfortable with Bernardeschi or Morata or whoever. I
don't think so. No, we talked about this earlier. You've got Morata, whose future's still up in the air. It's not decided. Like with Paulo, we've known for quite some time. They didn't even have to do it on the same night. They could have said, "Hey,
no, that's a different thing."
They could have gone, "Hey, the second to last home game, we're gonna do something for Dybala. The last one will be Chiellini's day." And it didn't have to, and Dybala's didn't have to measure up to Chiellini, but something. With
that, I agree. With that, I absolutely agree. And you could see on his face that it means a lot more to him than everyone thought. It wasn't easy for him in any way, and I believe it's been going on since he knew they weren't renewing. He's been in the same situation, and all broke out yesterday. Everything. They dropped the ball a bit. They should have done something for him. If not yesterday, then in the previous home game. But it is what it is. Still not the same level. Chiellini is a different story. I can't put them together in the same bracket and say they deserve equally the same.
Yeah. Ant, last one on this horn. Your thoughts on Dybala's?
I would like to preface my answer with Dybala's over there on the wall and he's not coming down. All right. I am a Dybala fan. He's over there right beside Del Piero. See the 2 number 10? So massive Dybala fan. And I agree with Raph, and we had a bit of a discussion in the group chat beforehand, and there's different perspectives on this, right? You kind of have at different ages, you kind of get different perspectives on things. Relax, Raph. You see things a little bit different way. I've experienced things a little differently or more things. So I'm not going to dump on how people feel because that's how they feel, right? That's their opinion. And, George in the comments here, he was putting out some tweets earlier today on how dissatisfied he was. And I get it. My whole thing is, where's the line? What's the line in the sand for somebody who's not renewing a contract? Now, Dybala is a bit of a different story. Top 10, it's all great points. I get it. But what is that line to commemorate a player who's moving on to potentially your greatest rival? Do you like there's a bit of a like a fine line there where I don't know what that is, and I don't think anybody does. And I get it. Should they have done something for it? Maybe, but I'm not really going to lose any sleep over how he left, because we don't know how he treated management in those meetings. We've had words of how management treated him, and it doesn't sound like it was very good. But we don't know how he acted in those meetings to give them that reaction. So
This is one of the reasons why
don't
I
know.
think Agnelli gets those boos, though, because you have to separate that. Those fans'
enough.
reactions, those are the
He's a
ones
fan
paying the
favorite.
ticket prices.
Yeah,
It's
fair
not
enough.
like, this is the part that drives me nuts. Relationships and how things go down is literally how this team has been doing it, and that's the reason why he gets boos. Okay, that's exactly why he's getting it. We
That's
saw
fair.
more for Chiellini than we did for Del Piero. Okay, and the immediate
That's
that's
true.
something that rolled through my mind immediately. Del Piero should have got the top of the top, and he didn't. And why?
Mhm.
Most likely because of relationship status, and that's just bullshit in my personal opinion. It's how Agnelli's always done it. You can tell with their farewells and whatnot. It's just, it's brutal to me. It's brutal to me. Chiellini, we know where he stands, and we know that he's got a spot waiting for him in the office. We also know he's never got his due financially, always been happy about it, has always been criminally underpaid, along with his partner Bonucci, who will probably get a massive send-off when his time comes, whether it is or isn't. But whether it is or isn't right. But the thing is, it's definitely relationship driven. You can see it. And is it right? In my personal opinion, no, because you need to do something for these fans. And Yeli needs to stop taking things away from them and start giving back. Started with the Ultras, started with the Gurva. He's never recovered. The place is a theater, and I just don't like what he's done there, man. I think he missed the mark 100%. I think those boos caught him off guard. I think his ego is way too big enough for him to realize where people actually start to see him now. It's starting to catch up to him. We'll see what
he's not
happens.
going
But
anywhere.
it's
The thing is,
it's totally relationship driven. Omar, go ahead.
look, the thing is that if Chiellini wouldn't have gotten anything and would have been just around, going around the stadium, same as Del Piero, then we wouldn't have been surprised. Like, okay, yeah, that's Juve management. We've seen it before. But now they went all out and it looks good. The thing with Dybala is not the only player who's in that position that didn't get the treatment. Marquisio got jack shit. Lichtsteiner, I might argue, deserved exactly the same as Dybala. Didn't get jack shit. Barzali, I don't even remember what happened.
Barzali got a farewell. He walked the Ring of Honor. He did that.
Yeah, so we know Juve don't do that. Buffon got sort of something. What was it? The series on Netflix that kind of wrapped up his last season at Juve. But there were players at the same caliber, same situation of Dybala, which haven't been with the club for 20 years, but still given most of their career to Juve, and they didn't get any treatment. So I didn't expect anything. If Marquisio didn't get it, Lichtsteiner didn't get it, I'm not surprised Dybala didn't get it, especially on a night where there's someone like Chiellini leaves.
Relationship.
That's my thing.
Relationship status. Do you guys have to go back to Marquisio? Do we remember the guy that didn't want to leave? The guy that was ready to play for free? Relationship status.
I'm not saying it's fine. I'm saying they should have started this
I'm not
trend
saying
long
whether
ago.
it's fine or not, but I'm saying it's clear and evident, I think, how they're handling it. It's relationships. It's the relationship.
They've always been kind of dumb when it comes to the fans and reacting to things happening in the world. Like they had no post for Christian Eriksen when he had that heart attack. Every club in the world posted something. I think they just decided to not intervene in those type of stuff, and it's pretty sad. I don't like it. I want them to post something. Maybe when Maradona died, they posted a goal with no words, just a goal he scored against Juve. So
Yeah.
they're just, dumb when it comes to managing personalities, because they're a business and they're 100% a business.
Yeah.
Nothing is personal.
That's a good way of putting it.
Now, like Dybala's thing was tough to watch. Like that was gut wrenching. Raph, I actually thought about you because I remember being on the live when it was actually announced here and seeing your reaction or just like lack of reaction because you were just so stunned. I actually thought about you and like that was gut wrenching to watch. I had to look away, because it was just like it was tough, but it doesn't change anything. You can't make those decisions. Like the decisions are done. Anthony and I talked about it in the green room before coming out, and it's one of those things where I think it finally actually sunk in for him, even though he knew all this time, and it's still tough to watch, but it is what it is. I mean, the decisions are made. We're gonna move on. Everybody was getting ready to move on, and that is what it is. I think personally, I mean, we said our goodbyes and everything like that, and for Dybala, for me, he did the 10 justice, and I just think the guy had the world put on his shoulders. Did he measure up to what was put on him? Probably not. But does that mean that he wasn't one of our best all those years? No matter which players came in and went, he was always amongst the best of the best. Winning MVP in a season, CR7's around, remaining with Higuain, forming a deadly duel when he could have easily faded. He's always been amongst the best. The numbers don't lie. He's in there. I'll always thank him for that, regardless of where he goes in the future and whatnot. Now you have some fans that are saying, well, now because of this, I don't care if he goes to Inter. For me, I said before, I can understand why he would go there. I can understand it. But for me, the consequences still remain when you go to that team. It sucks. And you just, again, it's that love of the club. It's understanding what you're doing. It's all this. And you can clearly see what it means to him. But there are consequences for going to that team. And I would hold true to that and still say, look, man, I wish you nothing but epic failure while you're involved with that club.
100%.
But I would understand if that's the best team that's out there for him.
No injuries.
On a sporting level.
Yes.
On a sporting level.
On a sporting level. That's right.
When we talk about as tifosi, I wish you nothing but the worst if that's where you end up going, Paulito. I'm sorry, but thank you. Thank you for everything. It is what it is. Goodbyes. We're going to wrap up the goodbyes with taking a look at something from some of our listeners and viewers and supporters on Twitter. And we got some from the team there as well. From the team, in terms of Chiellini, you got Omer just saying, bandage over the head, blood on the shirt, eyes of a killer, staring down at one of the best teams ever without blinking for a second. That famous photo with Marcello and Varane ahead of Chiellini there with the bandage, blood all over the kit. And just Omer continues, they just don't make them like that anymore. Nothing but applause for this man. Lex was very simple, not at all mentally prepared for today with pictures of Chiellini and Dybala embracing themselves. Luca says Giorgio Chiellini and Paulo Dybala have been named synonymous with the club we love. Both very different players and people, but both belonging to a winning cycle and group that is now long gone. They continue on. Joe Cappuccino shows the epic picture of himself next to Chiellini, and Joe had hair. Who knew? He actually had hair. Amazing,
Maybe that's the moment
stuff.
he decided to give it another go. Maybe the bald head is better.
Cliff says, all I could say is I was privileged enough to see Dybala and Chiellini play in person once in my life. Truly grateful for that opportunity. One icon on football and one legend of Juve as far as I'm concerned. For me, it was just crazy to think back all those years, and I put it, who would have thought that tall, skinny left back who was awkward quite a bit of the times, would fill in at center back due to necessity from injuries. Okay. If we think back all those years, slotted into center back because of all the injuries, next to a partner that got slotted in there because of injuries as well, Ligrotaglia. And who would have thought he just completely shifted everything we thought we knew about him as a player and made the position his own and never, ever looked back. Crazy, crazy stuff from Chiellini there. As far as the listeners, we've got some great stuff from the listeners too. Remy talking about some favorite moments. He's celebrating key goals, saving clearances and tackles as if they're goals. His performance during Euro 2008 for him signaled the official start of big things to come by Chiellini, Juve legend. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Georg coming in here with the volley screamer against Sampdoria, the iconic picture and performance against Real Madrid, the BBBC partnership, Euro 2021 performances, so many to list off the top of his head there. And Justin Arrivabene simply saying he is Juventus, tough, fearless, tactical, strong, willing to do whatever it takes, always in the right position. He was never fast, but he almost never got beat. Whatever the best compliment you can give him, that's what he has been. So great stuff there from everybody in the goodbyes. Now, after these goodbyes, the news, fellas. The news. Wow.
Crazy day.
So, De Ligt, almost like the gaffer said, we need to lock this guy down. Like in the past couple days, I've been saying it, and yesterday was no different match. I said you gotta lock this guy down. We had a good chuckle about the criticisms of this kid that almost everybody forgets he's 22 years old. Do you remember? You look back to the BBBC where they were at 22 years old. Okay, give De Ligt give him a little bit of slack there. He's fantastic. Okay.
Can you say that De Ligt at 22 is further ahead than those Bonucci and Chiellini when they were 22?
I'm trying to think of the exact age Chiellini
No,
was.
because Chiellini came in when the team was like Thuram, Cannavaro before 2006. Chiellini came into a world-beating team. Bonucci, however, was awful in his first
Bonucci's
season.
like
seventh.
De Ligt's miles ahead of Bonucci at that age, miles,
Yeah.
and even probably Barzagli. Definitely Barzagli as well.
Yeah, he had a weird trip. He was Palermo, then he moved to Wolfsburg, and when he came back, he suddenly exploded. It was weird at like the age of 30.
It's just one of these things to remember about these guys, and especially De Ligt and whatnot. But the extension underway, great stuff. Great stuff. Everybody talked about this Pogba meeting, okay? 4 hours long. Even in the group chat I saw, everybody's like, well, what could be possibly taking long? I was like, guys, think about it. Way more players involved. Because I was like, it's not just Pogba they're going to talk about. They're going to talk about Pogba. They're going to talk about Keane. They're probably going to talk about De Ligt. They're probably going to talk about some of the other targets that Raiola's firm represents. And there might be some players we don't even know about, which Omer brought up, which is a great point too. There's probably some unknowns in there that could be discussed. Long meeting. This is the aftermath. De Ligt extension underway. Anth?
Arrivabene said the French player didn't even come up. Come on.
Okay.
He probably did, but to your point, Omer's point, is Pellegrini on that list too?
Pellegrini is represented by them, yes.
Yeah.
That's a big list.
And the news breaks out that Pellegrini's got some teams interested in the EPL. But De Ligt extension underway. Great stuff. Great stuff. Keane picked up for 38 mil. This to me,
Man, Raph is boiling. Raph is about to go through the ceiling. I can see it.
So the only way I can think of this actually going down, because we all know where Juve stood for so long. Everybody's got to remember everything as a whole.
Why we got into that?
Juve is trying to get out of the second year loan. They have been trying for a month and a half now. Them doing this now tells me that something further is in line, or they might have that move, moving him to PSG for one of their players. obviously Paredes is the number one guy that it seems like it would be Moise Keane going over there for Paredes. Regardless of what we think or whatnot, that's the only way I can justify taking the 38 when there's still a year left on his loan.
Good point.
Why do you do that if you're not having something else down the line? To me,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's coming up. There's a move on the back end of this that we haven't seen yet. And maybe it's not even PSG, but there's a move
It's
on the
chess,
back
not
end of that.
checkers.
Whether we want Paredes or not, regardless, there's a move on the back end of it.
Good point.
Pogba, apparently it's gone up there. Apparently they're not far off. We're talking like $1 million. We're talking like €1 million away from Pogba. They're trying to push him as this future or whatnot. It is what it is, but Pogba, we can't say he doesn't instantly boost when he's on the pitch, that midfield. Can
That's
we?
if he's on the pitch, bro. Have you seen his injury record?
Yeah.
It's worse than Dybala's, bro. And
I know.
And more than Dybala.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
I'll throw something else out. Pirlo was not renewed for the exact same reason with Milan. Everyone thought he was done. He was older. He was 32. And suddenly a new environment, a new coach, a new team changed that, and it kind of flipped. So Pogba could go either way, but don't condemn him just yet. New environment that he knows, a coach that he knows. He might get back to top level. He might get injured again, and there goes everything out the window.
I think to your Omer, it's the opposite of Pirlo, because just like you said, it's a coach that he knows. It's a situation
I'm not
that he
saying
knows.
he's Pirlo.
No, but I get it. I'm just saying it's a more favorable situation than bringing Pogba in, because he knows the management, he knows the team. As long as we get new J Medical, just give me that. I don't care what players you bring in. Just give me a new physiotherapy staff. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. And we are getting a new medical staff, which is massively needed. Look, I'm looking at Pogba. I get it. I get the injury stuff. I get that it goes against some of that, but he's also been at a team where I don't know. And this is another one of those risk factors. Is he going to give a shit? Is he going to give a shit? You know, because we saw that level of care when, and this is my immediate reaction to one of these comments right here from Thomas is here saying Dybala was our number 10 who had the least impact for a club in the last 20 years. Think back to Pogba wearing the number 10, and then you have your answer for least impact from a number 10.
Pogba had a good season when he was number 10. He shouldn't have gotten the number, but the season he
treated the number like a joke. Shouldn't have got the number is the point. Had a brutal start to the year, as the whole team did. Finished up strong, but least impactful number 10 in terms of everything.
How many players have worn the number 10 in the past 10 years? 2.
Well,
3. No, 4.
3.
Tevez, Dybala, Pogba. After Del Piero, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Those are those 3. But regardless, the Pogba news is there. Arthur, not in Max's plans. Will be leaving. They still have to find a deal. Everybody's you still got to find a move, and it's great. While it's great for all the Juventini that want to see him moved and whatnot, he still stands us the same. Whether now he's in the plans or out of the plans doesn't change the books and doesn't change what he's on there for Juve. And it's going to be hard to find a deal there. But Di Maria is pretty much done. So let's just go through. Let's go around the horn here on this as it stands right now. De Ligt extension. Keane picked up 38 mil. Arthur leaving and Di Maria done so far. How would you guys feel about that? And let's kick it off with Raph here.
I'm going to give it to Anthony, but I need some time to collect
What's that?
I'm going to give it to Anthony to start off with.
Okay, there we go. Kick us off.
De Ligt, brilliant. Had to get done. Arthur, we got the young kid. I thought Medetti had a okay game yesterday as an 18-year-old. replace Artur with Moretti or Fagioli. Done. Don't let the door hit in the ass on the way out. Di Maria, I've said it before. Yes, he's an aging player, but I think he's a good player to bring in for some of the younger wingers. You know, from what I have heard or not heard, he's not an issue in the locker room. You know, it's not like you're bringing in a Cardi or something, you know, with that crazy ass wife of his. So I don't think in terms of personnel, he's not an issue. I think good move for a year, 2 maximum. Pogba, instant boost in the midfield. I'm really looking forward to that. And then the last one was?
The last one was Di Maria.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Keane.
Oh, Perisic, bro. Perisic.
Oh, Keane. Oh,
Oh yeah, there's Perisic in there too that the talks are
Okay, hang
heating
on.
up for.
$38 million for Keane will send me to the bridge if we don't sell him somewhere else. I do not see how we can spend that much on him. Because if he's forced to stay, if we can't move Keane at 38 million, Morata's gone. Which I get. I'm not paying 38 million for Morata. I know, but
If there's not
that's
an
a lot of
end
salary.
deal, if there's not an end deal,
Has to
this is
be.
why I just can't see it. If there's not
right
an
off.
end deal for Moise Keane, you would have been better off to spend it on Alvaro. Like
Mhm.
you would have been better off to spend the 30 on Alvaro. Like there's gotta
Or the
be
20
an
plus
end game
18 for someone else.
Keane. Has to
Yeah,
be.
that
Has to be.
has to be. Yeah.
Omar, go through
I
that
agree.
list. Let's get your thoughts on all that out of the breaking news.
Okay, so Keane, there has to be something. No way they just decided,
Yeah.
okay, for the million, when there's one more season on the contract, on the loan, there has to be something going on. Maybe they'll use the money from his sale to keep Morata. I don't know. What would I say? Delict, great. Renew him a week ago, not tomorrow, not anything. Yesterday, as soon as you can. Um, Perisic, I'm all for it. One of the best players in the league, still proves that he have something to give, still proves that he's a top level in Italy, maybe not in other leagues, but a Champions League winner from just 2 years ago, killed us on what was it, the Copa final, just killed us, absolutely brutal. I would definitely go for him. Di Maria, I've said before, I don't like it. I still don't like it, but I get that it's a business and you can't have everything. And once again, it might turn out to be a lot better than I expected. But on the surface, I don't like it. Let's see how it develops. And who else was there? Artur, bye bye. Don't let the door hit you on the ass. And that's it.
There we go. There we go. Raph, we got some
Raph has
listeners
composed
here
himself.
waiting for you to
Raph is
share
ready.
your thoughts on these names. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with the good news, which is Delict. Perfect. Everything else, you know what? Artur leaving is good depending on who we get to replace. So if we can get rid of Artur and give his spot to either Fagioli, Miretti, Ravella, I'm fine with it. Pogba, I would have been fine with it if he was like the last piece in the summer after the rest of the squad was sorted out. So as a first guy, right after we booted out Dybala from the door, I feel like it's just a here you go, take Pogba, shut up about Dybala. They're just trying to make us happy. Di Maria, I hate the deal. I don't want it to happen. Perisic, I hate the deal. I don't want it to happen. Moise Keane, I hate the deal. I hope it didn't happen. Is there anything else?
No, you got them all, Raph.
It's bro, it's literally just the fact that we're gonna be sat here in a year's time, 2 years' time with the same issue that this squad needs to be overhauled. We have too many old players. It's just gonna be we're signing players for immediate gratification, which is what is pissing me off. We're doing the same thing that we've been doing for the past 5 years. These short-term free transfers that just end up fucking us up in the future when it comes to actually building a sustainable long-term future project of the squad.
So,
But don't we have a good base of young players? Like what's not enough young players?
It's the fact that we have Delict cool, Locatelli cool, Chiesa cool, Vlahovic cool.
Yeah.
We have, I'd say, a 2-year window for these guys to let them know that, okay, we're building a project for the future. Right now, aside from those guys, everything around them are just short-term stopgap placements. Di Maria is short-term. Pogba is relatively short-term. Perisic is short-term. I don't see anything at the moment from the names that we are linked with to suggest to me that, okay, this is the team that is going to dominate Serie A for the next decade. Because if we don't get our shit together in the next 2 years, I see De Ligt walking, I see Vlahovic walking, I see Chiesa walking. Right now, this is the time to let these guys know that we're here for the long run, not for the short term.
I think
I
assembling
will-
those guys is showing you're in for the long term. You know, like we all know this isn't going to take one summer to fix. This is probably going to take 2 years to fix.
And that's why I'm saying in this, like, if we were to have signed a Di Maria, Perisic, Pogba after we had, signed another young centre mid next to Locatelli, another young centre back next to De Ligt, another young up and coming prospect next to Chiesa on the wing, I'll be like, cool, okay, I'll take a Di Maria, I'll take a Pogba. But these guys as your primary targets does not suggest to me that this club is looking for the long
I
term.
don't think
Well, the
they're
thing
primary
is,
targets. I just think they're the
you gotta
first target.
balance. You have to balance it out though, because how big is the drop off that you're ready to take to make this future project all right now? If you want to make it all project right now for a team that we're going to build them together, they're going to grow together, are you willing to drop off outside of that Champions League money? Because when Pirlo did that and he got close to it, everybody said they were willing to make those sacrifices based on their expectations. But when shit got real and it got close, everybody panicked and flipped out. Are you ready to sacrifice that extra money if it doesn't go right? If you put all your lifelines on the young guys, you have to have some of that character, of that experience to go through that.
I'm not saying to bank on like these unknown under 23 players, because there's a bunch of ready, experienced, relatively in the age bracket of, let's say, 22 to 26-year-old young talents that are ready to start for the team now. But the fact we're signing Di Maria, who's already been reported today that he's looking for an extra year in Europe just so he can play at the World Cup, this doesn't seem like it's a team being built on a project to win. It just seems like we're signing Di Maria because he's available. Let's just stick him in the team for a year and then see what we can do next year with signings. Right now, we have guys like Sinisterra lighting up, who Napoli are chasing, who's out here putting better numbers than Di Maria in his league.
I think you, for you and some of the other followers, I think we just need a little bit of patience this summer. I don't think these three names, Di Maria, Pogba, I don't think that's it. I think what the January window showed me was Zakaria and Vlahovic is that they're willing to pull the trigger on younger players. I just think they're the first dominoes to fall because, Al, you mentioned it in the pregame show. I think they're going after Pogba, and then if that doesn't work, they're going all chips in on Milinkovic-Savic. I think they have to see how that goes first, and then we're going to see other chips fall. But just go back to Raph. Are there young players that Juventus is targeting that if Pogba doesn't come, that you'd like Juventus to sign? That would fit your kind of...
De Jong and Milinkovic-Savic, literally those two guys. Milinkovic isn't young, but younger. Something that provides a bit more stability in the long term. Milinkovic-Savic, De Jong, those are my two guys. I'll be like, perfect.
But that's the hardest thing now in football. It doesn't happen. You almost can't, a club like Juve, like Inter, like whoever, signing a player at his prime between the ages of 23 to 29 is almost impossible. Yeah. Paris can do it. City can do it. You either sign, that's how it is right now. You either sign an old player who's out of contract and doesn't cost as much, or a young player, maybe too young, so it won't cost 70 million. But we're talking about Vlahovic, De Jong, their clubs want 70, 80 million. And that's a problem for Juve.
We did it in January with Vlahovic.
Yeah, and
we've had an agreement with Milinkovic-Savic since 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, it's only dealing with Lotito.
But that's
part of the problem. So while we want to shoot, you can't shoot the club down if a guy literally will not sell to your club.
We haven't even jumped into negotiations with Lazio yet.
No,
he's already made it clear. He says he does not want to sell him. He said, and this is where the battle's going to come in. Milinkovic-Savic hasn't said to Lotito he wants to go to Juve. He has not said that. Until he says that, nobody knows if Lotito will actually give in. He has not said that because
The fact he has an
Lotito so
agreement
far,
says
all
otherwise.
he said is if the player chooses to leave, we will help him and assist him for the service he's given us because we are humans before a business. That's what he says. But do you believe it? Do you believe it? If Sergei Milinkovic-Savic knocks on his door, walks into that office and says, I want to go to Juventus this summer, you think he's going to be like, okay, great, let's make this happen, and still not say, that's great, you can go there, I want 70 million. And
When
I
does
don't want
Milinkovic-Savic's
players. I don't want
contract run
nothing.
out?
I want 70 million.
That's a good question, Raph.
But
When does
Raph,
his
Raph
contract? Because we
here-
did the
His
exact same thing
contract
with.
is over in one more year.
We did
One more
this is exactly what happened with Vlahovic in January. What's his name? Did not want to sell to us, but because he said he only wants Juve, he was forced to sell.
Hey, that's great,
fact-
but that does
the fact-
nothing for this summer,
But
Raph.
this is what I'm
This
saying.
summer.
The fact that's what I'm saying. Because if the fact that we have an agreement with him already suggests that he does want to join the club. Yeah, we've had an agreement with him for years. Because we were going to sign him in 2018, but Lotito was playing hardball. We've had an agreement with him for ages. The fact that if we can get him to do the same thing that Vlahovic did, it will be out of his hands because he'll either sign him this summer or he'll be forced to leave Lazio for free next year. And I'm sure, as stingy as Lotito is, he does not want Milinkovic-Savic to leave for free next year. So either take the money or Milinkovic is walking next year.
But here's the problem. You're absolutely right, Raph. You're absolutely right. That's who we should be aiming for. But it's impossible when we got saved with Vlahovic because he wanted Juve and nothing else interested him. Same with Locatelli and Chiesa. They wanted Juve. And eventually Fiorentina can't say no to 70 million just because it's Juve. That's a lot of money. But Savic, if Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, whoever comes knocking on the door, they'll give that 70 million up, no questions asked. And they'll deal with them a lot before they deal with us.
The only
I'm
competition
not saying
we have
you're
right
wrong.
now
You're absolutely right.
No, what I'm saying, the only competition right now we have for Milinkovic-Savic is Europa League, Man United, or maybe Conference League, and PSG, who are also in competition for Pogba. So it's I'm sure, hopefully, Jesus Christ, hopefully he'll want Juve over Europa League, Man United, and then between PSG and us, we're both in for Milinkovic-Savic or Pogba. So from what I'm hearing right now,
what I've seen,
Pogba's 50-50 with Juve and PSG. If he ends up choosing PSG, it's literally just ask for Milinkovic-Savic as it is. So just put the money on the table.
Yeah. And the term, agreement, even that is, he's had terms presented to him that he would say okay to. But again, the will of the player is everything. Let's wait and see if we can get that will. But I want to ask Raph this question since he wasn't with us on the episode. What is a summer mercato that you would be happy with that is realistic for Juventus?
In terms of players signed?
Yes.
Anything. Yeah. In or out. All of it.
One big name in midfield. So like a De Jong, Milinkovic-Savic, 100%. For left back, a player like Udagi, who I am in love with at Udinese.
Gross.
A centre back, Badiashile, who we've been linked with. Bremer, if we can insert Gatti in there somehow. Sinistera, I've been on this guy's tail for the last 6 months. He plays for Feyenoord, and he's we've been interested in Anthony in that league, and Sinistera has been much better this season, much better. And he's in the price range of Napoli. Napoli are chasing after him, so I don't know why we couldn't be in there. He's a player that I look for a winger instead of maybe like a Di Maria or Perisic. So those 4 players there, I'd be happy with.
You're at about 120 million euros right there.
Do we not have 120 million euros?
No, we have 80.
And then include outgoings?
Not yet. That's the tricky
So I
thing.
just
You
wanted
can
to
lose
put that
both
in
of them.
perspective here.
But we're gonna have
shit on the
outgoings,
club, and say, we have to factor it in. Those players you just named are a total of around 120 million. We're
gonna
80.
have outgoings.
If you drop 70 on Milinkovic-Savic, say you give in, and this is the deal, you can get 70 million. we're not going to get the boost everywhere else that we want.
But we're gonna
That's
have
that's the
outgoings,
reality.
But that's the problem, because
Some outgoings,
if
yeah.
you wait long enough, you both of them could not be an option, not Pogba and not Savage. Pogba isn't going to wait until we finally manage to sell Rabiot in August. Okay, Spree, now you have the money. Same goes for
Mhm.
SMS. If we move away from Pogba before June, he'll be out the door. He'll already
Yeah.
have a new club. So does SMS. That's the tricky part. We do have outgoings. We don't know for how much, and we don't know how long it's going to happen. And look at all the teams around us. They're all finalizing their deals way before the transfer window starts.
It's
Yeah.
almost like it's really hard to run a professional football
Anthony,
club.
you're muted.
It's tough. It's difficult.
sounds
It's tough.
tough.
We want to see all
Huh,
these same guys.
weird.
You want to get into this, but the thing is like you still have to make it all make sense. And the financials are there's a reason, and Yelly is pushing hard for the Super League. Okay,
that's another
we
good
just
point,
burnt a
is that
300 million euro bond like that.
we're
It's gone.
also gonna get straight away 35 million for Kulusevski and a 20-something million for Demiral, which is already thrown on top of
I think
about
the
70 million.
Kulishevsky money
Yeah,
comes
but-
next summer.
No, because
at the end of
I
the
No,
So-
but
saw
40
Fabrizio.
million has already gone for Chiesa. We finalized Chiesa this summer, and Locatelli is next summer.
And when some of
That's
that
40
money's
million
cutting
already.
into deficits anyways, what are we
But the
talking about?
Locatelli
here?
and Chiesa money was already earmarked before all the shit hit the fan. But
Look.
go back to that, Raph. Kulishevsky money is
The
Say it again?
Champions League. So if they secure Champions League, it's a straight away.
that's straight away.
get straight
Okay, I
away.
thought it was
And
at
right
the end
now,
of his loan they get that.
and
Yeah,
at the
it's-
moment they're easily looking like they're making Champions League.
Look,
So-
it's tough. We are all kind of
It's
on
tough
the
to run a
same
club.
page for the same style players and whatnot. But like Ant said a while ago, it ain't a quick fix. There's a lot of bad business that we're still trying to see our ways out of. Everybody forgets Ramsey's coming back. That's probably going to be money out of our pockets, just cutting him loose. Sandro, money out of our pockets. Got to cut him loose. Guys that we do have that we're trying to sell, want to sell, move on. We're probably not going to get the deals we want out of it. So it's very, very difficult. While we can throw all these names out there, at the end of the day, none of it means shit other than, as Ant says, the Chicoria. So it is what it is. It's going to be very, very tough and difficult. We got to be interested. And you always have to think about that when you see these moves. Whether they're not the names you want to see, at the end of the day, it comes down to on the pitch. Hopefully they can make the impact and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. It's just I see it very, very difficult. Whether you go Milinkovic Savage, I see us being very, very tight in terms of the whole project. So maybe it's two names not at the top of our list, but maybe with what happens around it, because of it, it might be better overall. You don't know that until you see it play out. It's all speculation until then. I'm going to let everybody know, grab your Storm the Barn questions and start putting them in here now. We can address a few of them. That was great stuff, though. We love having
Omer,
Raph on.
you want to
It's
jump
not
in on
here
something there?
often enough here. And what was that, Omer?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. We have to remember that both UEFA and the FIGC are just waiting around the corner for a single dollar out of the budget to fuck us over. So
Exactly.
So we have to. I don't know. It's an impossible mercato, to be honest. It sounds like it.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. Now, one listener dropped a question, said, regardless of all the players, do we have the faith in Max? Anthony, Omar, myself answered that question yesterday on the Match Day Live, and there is concerns there with Max. I just want to show some stats that were put forth to me by a friend of the shows who's actually going to help us out on certain numbers that we need dug up at certain times. This one came to a surprise to me because I didn't even expect this message from him. And he reached out, and Cien, I hope I'm saying it right, Cien Stawara, he says, Allegri is supposed to bring defensive stability. And that's what a lot of his fans are making the claim right now, is that he has brought defensive stability. The reality, Cien says here, Last season in Serie A, we allowed more than 1 goal 6 times. 4 times we allowed 2, and twice we allowed 3. This season, 10. 1 time 3 goals, but 9 times 2. We've allowed 2. Someone might say defense needs time because we allowed a lot at the start of the season, and then it surely improved, which I think some were saying about Max this season. Okay. He checked the games after the winter break. This season, we allowed 18 in 16 games, 4 times more than once, and under Pirlo, 4 times more than the same. So it was 25 total in 25 games. So there's something going on there. And this defensive stability that everybody's sticking to doesn't appear to be that when you look at those numbers. And it
How many
didn't get
clean
better
sheets?
over the course of a season.
You gotta look at clean sheets too, though.
So
Can I start?
go ahead.
One, give me the clean sheets. Until then, the other thing is, and I don't want to compare. I kind of dump on people when they compare Allegri to Pirlo because I'll compare how I felt again this season compared to games last season, what I saw in the field. I didn't have confidence last year in the team holding a lead. This year, I felt it just felt like if we were up 2-1 or 1-0 that we would be able to hold it. There was just something different about it. The stats might prove me wrong, but the defensively, the way we were situated this year, I just felt more comfortable. I felt it was more stable this year, but we went 15 unbeaten. Like that was something, that's something that can't just be washed under the rug. I don't know.
It can't be the be all end all to hang on to either, in my opinion.
No.
And if we're talking about clean sheets, it's not really going to matter in this because we're talking about more games where we've allowed multiple goals. And when you have a team that if his claim to state is the defensive side, you've allowed more multiple goal games and you're not scoring goals nearly as much.
Definitely not scoring a lot of goals.
That's a problem. He's going to finish with less points than we did last year. It's a massive problem.
So the best defense is a good offense?
Yeah, exactly. So while I might say that Anth is right in the sense of we might have felt like we're not going to hang on to this last season, I still always felt like we were going to go out and be able to score another. With this team, it's like it feels like it's a matter of time. They could score on us, and we're not going to find another. Like it just feels that way.
The
I don't know.
15 games unbeaten run is not a fair shout because, first of all, we got ourselves into a situation where we need an unbeaten run to be even in question for the Champions League. Milan didn't have a 15-game winning run, nor does Inter, nor does Napoli, and they're all above us. It doesn't matter. Win the games that you need to win, and we have won none of those this season. Absolutely none. I went through Milan's record. They only lost points to Napoli once. They've beaten Inter, they've beaten Napoli once, Atalanta twice. That's where your mentality and your character comes out and shows who you are. And this season, we dropped the ball on all occasions. I can't single out a single game that we were the better side and we got rewarded for it. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big problem when you actually come out there, you play the right manner, and you still can't get the results because the execution's still not there. It is problems there. Raph, I don't know if we want to open up this can of worms with you. I think we might just skip this one if you're cool with it. We'll get to Luca's question here for Storm the Bard. Thoughts on the actual game yesterday, drawing in the dying minutes after 2-0 lead is depressing. Look, it's really hard to take a lot out of nothing games. Like it really, really is. Especially we talked about it with the emotions of everything going on in the background. It's really, really hard to take a whole bunch out of this. What I want to ask you guys is, how do you guys feel about Miretti's performance? Because he was the one that we singled out we need to look at because he's got a couple more dress rehearsals, so to speak, until we make decisions in the summer. So I just want to go around and see your guys in terms of this game yesterday, what you felt about Miretti, and we'll start with Raph.
I mean, for how long of the game was he playing by himself? And he just seemed like he was playing next to, was it either Sandro in midfield or Bernardeschi in midfield?
I thought you were in midfield a little bit there, Raph. I didn't know what the hell was going on for a while.
Yeah, it's there's a reason we've been like screaming for this guy all year, and I don't know. It's annoying that it took this long for him to start playing, and that when he plays, he's head and shoulders above the experienced guys on the team. So I don't know. I was happy to see him play, but I was also annoyed that he kind of had to play 20-something minutes by himself in the midfield after he took off Locatelli. I was so confused by that in terms of the game yesterday.
Yeah.
Raph, is he ahead of Ravella and Fagioli for you?
I'm more Fagioli top. Rovella second and Miretti last. Simply because I've seen the other two more. Just simply because.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen them both for 2 years. Miretti I've only seen since the beginning of this year.
Okay.
Yeah. That's very close to me. Rovella's injuries this season really concern me. They really do. It did concern me. Let's get to Omer and Anth on Miretti's performance yesterday. So Omer?
Miretti was great. Yeah, Miretti was great. Was fantastic. I have nothing bad to say against him. Playing with Sandro in the midfield is a mission in itself that can be accomplished by other top tier midfielders. But he did perform well. He seems like he's a very quick thinker and he sees the pitch better than other midfielders. There's just some class about the way he plays. It's not like a hard-nosed guy and not aggressive too much, but there's a class to the way he passes and the way he runs. It seems I told you yesterday and you thought I was high. It's going to be super karma if we just don't buy Savage, don't buy Pogba, keep all those three guys, and it will turn out to be the best decision you ever made.
Maybe.
I can't guarantee anything like that, but that's just I get the feeling that that's just what needs to happen, and it won't happen. There's no chance.
I always
Not
say it,
only at
Omer.
Juve.
It's free to dream, buddy. It's free to dream. Let's go.
And
It's not free to get high, though. That's for sure.
it was tougher back in the day.
It's
lot
before the
cheaper
game.
now.
I said, let's keep an eye on Miretti and how he handles those two idiots on the other side of the field. And I thought he did well against Savage and Luis Alberto. I thought they did all right. You know, he got a little diced up there with when they rang it off the crossbar, but I was happy with the way he played, and for the age, I think Fagioli has earned it, and I'd like to see Miretti go to, and I said this in the group chat yesterday, I'd like to see Miretti in a mid-table Serie A side, not rotting away in Serie B. I'd like to see him get some, or low-level Serie A team. I'd like to see him get some minutes on a Empoli or a Sassuolo or Udinese, kind of a team that fights for those middle standings and that can give teams trouble. I'd like to see him have a year there. He's only 18, man. Like 18.
Yeah. I think his performance I thought was great. It was fine, no issues whatsoever. I think that midfield lacked that ball winner. If you're going to play a two-man pivot, we were kind of pumped, Luca, Miretti there, but it was missing. It was missing some grind in there and some fight. That's all. And I think it didn't do either one of them some favors ultimately. But as far as standalone, Locatelli still looks a little off. We got to remember he's been off for a while and just coming back. So he did look a little off to me, though. Still had some good moments, some good switch fields and whatnot, but a little bit more out of there. Whatever happened to the Raspadori links? I'm just going to tackle this one real quick. The Raspadori links are still there, but it always was terms determined based on what happened with Moise Kean, apparently. So now, obviously, the story changes dramatically. If, in fact, we're sealing up this move for Kean, it's going to be seeing what that means on the other side of it. But that's kind of what was with Raspadori. It was heavily based on what happens with Kean. That's what the reports were all leading to. So we'll have to wait and see there. Let's get to another one real quick here. What is your realistic expectations for next season? How many trophies and which trophies? Scudetto. let's get after that. And based on the moves, it's hard to judge after. We have to wait till the summer to really see if we can get into that. But I think to this team, I look at this team this season, and if we get the right characters, the right abilities to kind of make everything balance out, because we were still very unbalanced this season, and we still were in a fighting spot at one point where that one match could have really flipped the script. Obviously, we played one of our best matches, didn't get the results, weren't rewarded, but we were still in there. So I see no reason why we're not in there fighting for that thing next season. If we can at least say that we made improvements, especially on the left side of the pitch, but in the midfield, bring a guy with abilities that we don't carry right now. I see no reason. Europe, we are going to be behind the 8 ball. We have to be realistic. We are going to be behind the 8 ball in Europe. Coppa Italia will be in the mix. Semis for sure. That's my opinion for next season. Let's go around the horn. Anth?
Scudetto at a minimum. Coppa Italia, I think, so that as well. So 2 trophies there. Do you get a participation ribbon for getting to the quarters of Champions League? Because I'll even take the participation ribbon. I think it's purple. I'll take that one.
More
Oh,
mo-
man.
it's more money.
Man. Omar.
More money.
Yes, Scudetto, absolutely. Super Coppa, all of this stuff is just, it's nice to have it. Champions League is a luxury. It's not something you can aim for. Man City have been building $1 billion team and they still haven't won it. You don't aim for it. You just rely on a lot of luck. So Scudetto is the only thing that we should go after, and I expect. Depending on the market, if we have good depth and not too many injuries, I would expect the Copa to. But let's wait and see what happens in the summer. And all this World Cup in the middle, I don't know, it could throw it all into a different loop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Omar or Raph?
With the players we're bringing in, anything less than a Scudetto is failure. Anything in the Champions League like we've done this year with like humiliations and knockouts in the round of 16, failure. Coppa Italia, I'll care. I only care once we reach like the semis. I don't really care anything before that because it's not really a trophy at the moment that really interests me.
Yeah.
So
I actually like more the early games.
Yeah, the earlier games, because I'd say so as well, simply because we have more chance of just seeing something new, young players, new players.
Yeah,
But
I like them
in terms of like
games.
objectives for the season, like I'll never have Coppa Italia like up there. I only make it an objective once you reach like a semi-final. So
yeah. All right. Last one from sorry, where is it? From Bikramjeet here. Can we discuss a little bit Locatelli? I'm honestly not convinced by him this season. Barella and Tonali are proven to be far more decisive and shown more grinta than him. So, Raph, kick us off on your thoughts on Locatelli so far and this season.
I think the only reason that's visible is simply because the other two are playing in fully functioning systems and Locatelli isn't. In terms of individual performances where, individual brilliance comes to show, Locatelli showing that like head and shoulders above any of our midfielders. And even at the beginning of the season, in terms of games like Torino or even Chelsea away, he was one of the few like bright spots in the team. When his individual brilliance is called upon, he provides. But obviously, over the course of a season where you're looking for consistency, the fact that this team hasn't found a consistent rhythm throughout the whole year, there's a reason that Barella and Tonali are looking much better. And that's simply because they're playing for better teams. Yeah. We can make a case for this with literally any of our star players this year. We can say about De Ligt with his rivals at other teams, Vlahovic since he's been here with rivals in other teams, Chiesa in the months that he had with us. It's the same across the board for all our players.
Yeah. Omer, your thoughts?
Raph is absolutely correct. I agree with everything you said. Tonali, it's his second year. His first season was not that good. Barella is a bit more advanced in age and experience, and it's a different game. I just want to remind everyone, Luca Modric won the flop of the season in his first year at Real Madrid. Okay, it doesn't always go out the way you hoped, bringing in a new player as good as he is to not functioning team, like Raph said, it might take a while. Be patient.
Locatelli was our best player the first half of the season. It could be argued. And then
Yeah,
he got that
I agree.
injury, and then he got absolutely shut down by opponents when we had no other midfielders. Opponents were just putting 3 guys around Locatelli, and he couldn't do a damn thing. So he was like game in, game out. Who's your game MVP first half of the season? Locatelli was either first, second, or third. So as these 2 gentlemen said, let's just give it time. Have to build a system, but he is going to be a staple in that midfield for a long time. Barella was dog shit until about last week. So he has not had a good season since the Euros. And Tonali has had half a dozen good games. But he's still young. He's only, like 21? So
I want to
think
step
Locatelli
further and
will-
said Barella was even mediocre through the Euros, to be honest. So
Yeah,
is what
what
it
are we
is. As
talking
far as
about?
Locatelli goes, I am not concerned one bit.
Zero.
I have some other questions of Locatelli, which I think, mentally and whatnot, I think will change as he gets more experience with Juve and whatnot. But in terms of performances, in terms of what he's asked to do, I think he does it at a very, very high level. As far as having the impact of the other two, system, like Raph said, plays into it. The partnerships that are formed, like there was a little bit of a chemistry coming in with Artur. Artur's going to go. He's got, and then it changes completely when he has 2 defensive lugs next to him. It makes no sense. Like, he needs to be the driving force, the attack force, but he can't do it if he's playing just ahead of the defender. So it's like everybody wants so much more out of him, but he's in a role where he's doing something completely different. So it's like the expectations don't match where he actually is on the pitch most of the time. So it's, as far as his performances though, I've always been happy. I think there's been maybe 3 performances where I could say he was off, and that's not bad by any means, especially when you think about a team that has yet to lock in something solid to move forward with. So no concerns there. But we're gonna wrap up on that. And wow, what a episode! Hell of a debate there in terms of mercato and what could potentially happen with Juventus. The panel, you guys are fantastic. Raph joining in. I didn't even actually know Raph was coming on, but it's always great having Raph in there. And Omer, fantastic. Pleasure. We did double duty this week and it was great. Quick reminder, big thanks to everybody. We're wrapping up the season, coming down to the wire. Doesn't stop anything. Yes, like the video. More importantly, also smash that subscribe button and share the content with your friends. Okay, let's keep growing the AJC army. All you subscribers entered later on this week, we're giving this thing away as we get into our final match of the season against Fiorentina. 1 lucky subscriber will get this kit, okay? And reminder to check out stripedcardsapparel.com. Obviously, I'm rocking the King Kong tee, which are out now, available, okay? And they got hoodies as well, so check them out, show some love. Thanks to everybody who already did, as it helps the show and channel. Massive thank you to you guys, okay? Without you guys, show isn't what it is, so big thanks to all of you, okay? We're coming down to the wire. We're going to try and do something cool where I want to try to get as many of the team members as we can in, and then have an open final season session where you guys can even take part. And if some of you subscribers want to join us for a discussion, we can make that happen too. Okay. So we're going to get down to the wire, but big thank you. Closing in on 2K. Let's hit it for weekend. Okay. No matter what, always Fino alla fina, Forza Juve. Let's wait and see. Get ready for the rumor mill because we're coming down to the wire and heading into the summer. We know how crazy it gets. And look and stay tuned for Mirko Di Natale making some spots on this show through the summer, okay? Ciao tutti.